Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78, the Corruption Detector. And thank you for joining me tonight, December 6th, a beautiful, chilly Thursday evening in December here in the Great Lakes State. I have a couple of very interesting things to talk about tonight. First of all, I just want to call attention real quick to a video I made the other day about the Clinton whistleblower, Nate Kane, and Fox News dropping his interview. If you'll all remember, those of you who've seen the video, the footage from the George H.W. Bush funeral has a couple of very interesting things that I just want people to think about in the context of what we're going to look at next. So you've got the Bush family, all right? It looks like the majority, 3 of the brothers and 2 of their wives, do not have their hands over their hearts. Now, why is that? Well, that's in homage to their patriotism, okay? These people are not patriots. They do not honor our nation. They are very upset right now. And I wonder if the ones who don't have their hands over their hearts don't understand exactly what's going on and how screwed they are. Plus, look at George W. Bush over here on the left. You can even see in this in this small picture here, this zoomed in photo, he is looking out of the corner of his eyes, perhaps at Pence. Pence, look at him. He's stoic as all get out. But George H.W. Bush is looking nervous. Jeb just looks depressed, low energy. And then his brother over here is, I don't know, is that Neil? There's 2 of them. I don't know these other 2 guys. He is kind of looking clueless, I'd say. But these two are the ones who really have some problems. So, thinking about that, let's move on to this right here. This is from the date of George H.W. Bush's funeral. We all remember it was D5. You got people coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, Q said this, Q said that. Well, you know, Q didn't say anything. Q posted some cryptic messages and we interpreted them. So many people interpreted them to believe that there was going to be something, you know, incredible happening on December 5th. Now, granted, there was the George H.W. Bush funeral. I thought that was pretty sweet. The Huber testimony got moved as a result of that move by the deep state. But if we take a look at the bus pulling up in front of the National Cathedral here, I'm just going to push play and you guys tell me if you see what I'm looking for. Okay, take a look at the windscreen on the bus. 5 up at the top. What's that down at the bottom? Oh, it's a D. That's a D5. It's a pretty interesting coincidence. I tend to believe that that was done on purpose. I think that that's definitely a message to us. Keep the faith. Things are happening. But a lot of people would just say that it just happens to be the number of the bus. But why would they choose that? Why did they have to choose that? Anybody who's in the deep state, who's in, you know, the government that is part of the group that are trying to take back everything, all the power for the cabal, they know what's going on. They see these posts. They see our fervor over them, our excitement. So why would they choose D5? I don't know. All right, next we've got a video from the Washington Pundit. This is incredible. All right, so here is Jeb, low energy Jeb, looking just morose as all care can be. And Laura Bush shows him something on that paper, and oh my God, his face just dropped. He looks like somebody killed his dog, and he's going to throw up right on Laura's $1,000 Louis Vuitton handbag. Yep. Oh, God, Jeb. Are they coming for you, Jeb? Is this it? Is it finally over? They got Poppy? Now they're coming for you and your little lady right there, your little senorita? Oh, I would not want to be Jeb for anything in the world right now. Poor guy. I mean, not so much poor guy, but I wouldn't want to be him. Here's some more high strangeness from the George H.W. Bush funeral. This is from Lone Wolf Andrew Jackson, shared by In the Matrix. Great Twitter account right there. And Lone Wolf Andrew Jackson says, "Can someone please explain to me what W had that was so important he had to hand it over to Michelle before the funeral even started?" Well, let's take a look. Let's see what W handed off. He reaches in. Oh, look, he's such a sweet guy. Supposedly he gave her a mint, but I want you to take a look. Oh, look at that. See that corner right there? That's a piece of paper. Oh, and there is another corner that just folded down. That is a note, ladies and gentlemen. That's a folded up note because they can't communicate the way that they used to be able to communicate, and it's all because of Q. And she does that sly little move, carefully concealing it, because Michelle's done this before. She's no stranger to this game. Now here's another picture showing us a close-up. Supposedly, George W. Bush handed her a mint because that's their thing. Personally, I think they're passing love notes. A love note of a sort, anyways. But he definitely handed something off to her, and it was not a mint. It was certainly a piece of paper. Now, if you want to dispute that, leave it in the comments below. All right, now, speaking of strange stuff happening at the George H.W. Bush funeral, here is a little piece that shows all of these deep state cabal members. Hillary Clinton opens up her pamphlet, her program for the funeral, and, oh, look at that, an envelope drops out. She opens it up. She takes a look. She quickly puts it away. There you go. Maybe what's in that envelope is the same information that Laura Bush shared with Jeb earlier. Maybe it was an indication of how much longer they have their freedom. Maybe it was a warning. Who knows? And look at that smug son of a gun. Barack Hussein Obama. Barry Soetoro. God. He sure pulled the wool over on our eyes, didn't he? Barack Obama, wolf in sheep's clothing. All right, so now moving on to the news. And I figure Hillary Clinton is the best place to start because we just had a little bit of a story about Hillary Clinton. But this is from the Gateway Pundit, Jim Hoff. Good friends with these guys. Love reading their stories. A wonderful publication. Class act. Someone in one of my last videos made a big to-do about the fact that I called Gateway Pundit a prominent news organization or a reputable news organization. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think that they are far more reputable than the New York Times or the Washington CIA Post or the Boston Globe. You name it, Gateway Pundit has got the bead. Breaking. Federal court orders discovery plan in 10 days on whether Hillary's private server was an intentional attempt to evade FOIA. Once again, Judicial Watch is doing the heavy lifting. Judicial Watch appeared in a D.C. federal court last month on a motion to compel more testimony from Hillary Clinton, as well as to make public video recordings of depositions of top Clinton aides such as Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills. Now, before I get into the rest of the story, if anybody who's watching this has ever seen, they are reenactments of Hillary's aides' transcribed testimony. It is hilarious. Like the greatest melodrama you've ever seen. If you haven't seen those, please rush out after this video and search for that. It's incredible. The court ruled that Hillary Clinton must answer more questions about the setting up of her private server. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton said that the court denied their request to unseal the video depositions of Clinton's aides. On Thursday, a federal court blasted the DOJ and State Department on Hillary Clinton's emails and ordered a discovery plan in 10 days as to whether Hillary's private email system was intentionally set up to avoid FOIA requests and lawsuits. We know the answer. Oh boy, don't we? Tom Fitton has a tweet right here just announcing the motion. And direct from Judicial Watch announced today that in a ruling excoriating both the U.S. Departments of State and Justice, U.S. District Court Judge Royce C. Lamberth has ordered both agencies to join Judicial Watch in submitting a proposed schedule for discovery into whether Hillary Clinton sought to evade the Freedom of Information Act by using a private email system, and whether the State Department acted in bad faith by failing to disclose knowledge of the email system. The decision comes in a FOIA-related lawsuit related to the Benghazi terror attack. Oh, man. And if this brings out more evidence related to Benghazi, super excited. So, especially, Lamberth ruled, this is great, direct from the judge. The court orders that the parties to meet and confer to plan discovery into A, whether Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State was an intentional attempt to evade FOIA. B, whether the State Department's attempts to settle this case in late 2014, early 2015 amounted to bad faith. And C, whether State has adequately searched for records responsive to Judicial Watch's request. Terming Clinton's use of her private email system one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency, Lamberth wrote in his memorandum opinion, his, as in Barack Obama's, State and Justice Departments fell far short. So far short that the court questions even now whether they are acting in good faith. Did Hillary Clinton use her private email as Secretary of State to thwart his lofty goal, Obama announced standard for transparency? Was the State Department's attempt to settle this FOIA case in 2014 an effort to avoid searching and disclosing the existence of Clinton's missing emails? And has State ever adequately searched for records in this case? At best, State's attempt to pass off its deficient search as legally adequate during settlement negotiations was negligence born out of incompetence. At worst, career employees in the State and Justice Departments colluded to scuttle public scrutiny of Clinton, skirt FOIA, and hoodwink this court. Oh, this is incredible. This is great news, guys. We really need to have a round on this one. I am so excited. Turning his attention to the Department of Justice, Lamberth wrote, "The current Justice Department made things worse. When the government last appeared before the court, counsel claimed it is not true to say we misled either Judicial Watch or the court. When accused of doublespeak, counsel denied vehemently, feigned offense, and averred complete candor. When asked why State masked the inadequacy of its initial search, counsel claimed that the officials who initially responded to Judicial Watch's request didn't realize Clinton's emails were missing, and that it took them 2 months to figure out what was going on. Counsel's responses strain credulity." I don't think we can have a better judge on this case. Thanks to Judicial Watch, the American public was made aware of Hillary Clinton's private email server. Clinton conducted official business on a non-government server so that she could hide her Clinton Foundation pay-to-play while she was head of the Department of State. Clinton lost her security clearance last month. Tom Fitton says the public has a right to know the truth about Clinton's private server. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And thank you, Tom, for the hard work you do. Next on tonight's news roundup, we have breaking news coming out of the Ecuadorian embassy. The Ecuadorian president says enough UK assurances have been made for Julian Assange to leave the embassy. Cassandra Fairbanks reporting for the Gateway Pundit once again. Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno has said that the UK has provided written assurances that they will not extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to any country where he will face the death penalty. Moreno claims that this is sufficient guarantee for Assange to be able to leave the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he has been residing since being granted asylum in 2012. During Moreno's radio interview, he did not say that he will be forcing Assange to leave, but stated that WikiLeaks' legal team is considering what to do. It was recently revealed through a filing error that Assange has been secretly charged in the United States, though the nature of those charges remains unknown. Is there anyone out there who honestly believes that the United States Department of Justice would make a filing error of this magnitude? that they would allow everyone to accidentally learn that Julian Assange has indictments. I find it really highly implausible. At the end of November, a judge heard arguments about unsealing the charges, but no decision was made. The U.S. government argued that the press and the public have no right to know what the charges against the publisher actually are. He explained that he would be willing to provide more information in a closed setting, of course. The UK has refused to acknowledge the findings of the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, which found that he is being arbitrarily and unlawfully detained and must be immediately released and compensated. And if you think about it, if Julian Assange really is in the Ecuadorian embassy, then he's basically in prison because the guy has like a 5x5 room that he can't get out of. It's already been reported that when the last time he was seen, he wasn't looking so hot. The poor guy, let him out. Let him come to the U.S. and let him present evidence about the emails, Russia. As Matt Taibbi recently wrote in a must-read op-ed for Rolling Stone, the more likely eventuality is a prosecution that uses the unpopularity of Assange to shut one of the last loopholes in our expanding secrecy bureaucracy. Americans seem not to grasp what might be at stake. WikiLeaks briefly opened a window into the uglier side of our society, and if publication of such leaks is criminalized, it probably won't open again. So true. So true. But we have a follow-up to that report, and it says here that Julian Assange has rejected the UK-Ecuador deal for him to leave the embassy. Julian Assange's lawyer has rejected an agreement announced by Ecuador's president to see him leave the Ecuadorian embassy in London after 6 years inside. Lenin Moreno, the president of Ecuador, has made no secret of his wish to be rid of the WikiLeaks founder, who sought asylum inside the embassy in June 2012 and has not left since. On Thursday, Mr. Moreno announced that a deal had been reached between London and Quito to allow Mr. Assange 47 to be released. The way has been cleared for Mr. Assange to take the decision to leave in near liberty, said Mr. Moreno. He did not specify what near liberty meant. It's not quite liberty. Mr. Moreno earlier this year announced that he was severing Mr. Assange's telephone and internet links, and in October said he was banning him from making political statement that jeopardized Ecuador's relations with other countries. Mr. Assange then sued for a breach of his human rights. Now, I don't know where you guys stand, but there is a large segment of the population out there that believes that Assange is already outside of the embassy, that he's already come to the United States, and that he's already providing evidence against Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, many other people in the Podesta leaks, and that he can prove the fact that the emails were not hacked by the Russian government, Cozy Bear, the fake CrowdStrike organization. Mr. Moreno added that Britain had guaranteed that the Australian would not be extradited to any country where his life is in danger, but Mr. Assange's lawyer, Barry Pollock, told the Telegraph that the deal was not acceptable. The legal team have long argued that they will not accept any agreement which risks his being extradited to the United States. All right. And last but not least, on tonight's news roundup, a story that I wanted to get to a couple days ago, but just did not have the time. More breaking news from the Gateway Pundit. Mueller withheld exculpatory evidence from the court to exonerate Trump, meaning Mueller lied to the court. Jim Hoff asks, will he be sent to jail too? Is justice still alive in America? Will Robert Mueller see jail time? I think that's an emphatic no. Robert Mueller is not going to see the inside of a jail cell, despite all of the horrible and illegal things that we know that he did. I believe that Mueller must have been under duress when he was in the Obama administration. He was compromised early on, and he was forced to do things throughout his career. I think that based on the fact that Mueller's special counsel investigation is assisting with two other investigations, as we saw the other night in my earlier report, that General Flynn is giving significant assistance on. Those investigations right there are proof to me that Trump has a special card with Mueller. The fact that he's using him in this position, even if Mueller might still be acting in a manner to subvert Trump and his authority and try to, do things to unseat him from power, he can't because there's nothing there. It's a witch hunt. A new report by journalist Paul Sperry says conflicted Robert Mueller withheld evidence from the court that would exonerate President Trump from the latest accusations of Russian collusion during the 2016 election. Mueller withheld information to the court that would exonerate President Trump. And let's see, from Breaking News Live, Mueller's plea deal with Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen offers further evidence that the Trump campaign did not collude with Russians during the 2016 election, according to congressional investigators and former prosecutors. Cohen pleaded guilty to making false statements to the Senate as discussions about the so-called Moscow Project continued 5 months longer in 2016 than Cohen had initially stated under oath. A 9-page charging document filed with the plea deal shows Mueller is using the Moscow Tower talks to connect Trump to Russia, but congressional investigators with House and Senate committees involved say Mueller withheld the court details that would exonerate the president. On page 7 of the Statement of Criminal Information filed against Cohen, Mueller mentions that Cohen tried to email Putin's office 2 times in 2016, but Mueller omitted the fact that Cohen did not have any direct points of contact at the Kremlin. Sources who have seen these additional emails point out that this omitted information undercuts the idea of a back channel, and thus the special counsel's collusion case. Page 2 holds additional exculpatory evidence for Trump, sources say. It quotes on August 2017 a letter from Cohen to the Senate Intelligence Committee in which he states that Trump was never in contact with anyone about the Moscow Project proposal, other than me. This section of Cohen's written testimony, unlike other parts, is not disputed as false by Mueller, which sources say means prosecutors have tested its veracity through corroborating sources and found it to be accurate. Mueller did not challenge Cohen's statement that he ultimately determined that the proposal was not feasible and never agreed to make a trip to Russia. So this is big news right here, because it just once again goes to show that every time they try to make a link between Trump and Russia, they fall flat on their face. There is no link, okay? Anybody who's watching this who wants to, call me incorrect in the comments below, be my guest, okay? Because I am confident in this fact. I am 100% certain that Donald Trump, our president, who is making America great again, did absolutely nothing wrong. Okay? You want to see people doing things wrong? You want to see people breaking the laws? You want to see jailable offenses? Take a look at the Obama administration and the people that worked in it. All right? These people, with the exception of General Flynn, okay, or Admiral, from the NSA, Mike Rogers, I believe his name is. I don't remember if that's his name. Now, somebody called me out on something the other night that I was wrong on, and I don't want to say incorrect information. But the guy who was the admiral that was the head of the NSA that had the secret meeting with Trump and did not tell Obama about it. If anybody wants to tell me his name, put it in the comments below. Those two gentlemen, okay, the military people, they were the ones that were the good guys, all right? They're the ones who kept our country from sliding over the edge into some type of communist, socialist dream, all right? And now they are paying the price. General Flynn is paying the price, but I firmly believe that President Trump is not going to let anything else bad happen to that man. That man is a hero. He is a patriot. And the people who are not are Barack Obama, his people in his immediate circle, the Muslim Brotherhood, and Hillary Clinton and people in her immediate circle. All right, well, that's all I've got for tonight. I really believe that we have witnessed some amazing things in the last several days. Thank you so much for tuning in. If anyone has any comments that they'd like to leave below, please do. I do read them, even if I don't get a chance to answer many of them. It's kind of overwhelming, even with being a small channel. There's a lot of comments, and it can get daunting at times. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to Red Pill 78, the Corruption Detector. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It helps me out so much. Thank you, everybody who has subscribed in the last week. Ooh, I forgot to turn my phone off. Everyone, have a good night.